start to understand the money frequency and use it, you're going to fall into a very small select group of people. And this small select group of people will live a pretty good life. I want to suggest that you make a decision that you're going to really pay attention to what we're teaching here, and that you're going to be here every day for the 5 days. If you really want to see things change, not only attend the 5 days, but we offer the opportunity to go back and watch reruns of it each day. So if you're listening to the first day, you could be listening to it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and so on. You can keep doubling up on these. And it's the repetition of this information that really makes a difference. Now, it took me a long time to understand that. But I'm going to tell you, when I did understand it and it started to work for me, everything in my life changed. So, on behalf of, we can flip the slides up, please. Who's in charge of the slides here, Tommy? There we go. And then put me away from the top. That's, now we're doing fun. The money frequency is a concept that not a lot of people understand. And I had it working for me, but I didn't understand it. I was what you call an unconscious compliment. I was doing really well, but I couldn't tell you why I was doing so well. And it's a strange thing, but if you keep studying this, it works like magic. Now you'll notice here, lines. We can blow this up full screen, please. You'll see the lines that we have on the screen. They are to graphically illustrate levels of vibration. Now, of course, it isn't like we've got it here, but there's an infinite number of frequencies. Each one is a level of vibration. Now, everything has its own vibration. Everything in the universe. I have a piece of paper here. This piece of paper has its own vibration. Now, this piece of paper used to be wood into paper. I remember when I was a very young child, I lived in a place called Michipicoten Harbor. It was in northern Canada. My father was working in a pulp mill in northern Canada. We lived in a little log cabin right beside the railroad tracks. Every time a train went by, that little cabin would shake. And the railroad had great, big, huge logs on it. This was pulpwood. I'm 4 or 5 years old. I don't understand anything about it. But they told me they're going to take and turn it into paper. Well, of course, I didn't understand that. But the truth is, that's what's happened. You can take anything and turn it into something else. We take water and we turn it into steam. How? By causing it to change in a state of vibration. Now, when we change in our state of vibration, we change many things in our life. So when we talk about the money frequency, we're talking about something that's pretty powerful. Now, I'd like to go back a few slides here. Hold on a minute. Sandy Gallagher and I came together as partners around 15 years ago. I have been in this business since 1961, and we were doing very well, but we weren't doing anything compared to what we started to do when she became a partner in the company. She was a securities attorney. She understood something about money. She understood this better than anybody I know. And when you really understand that, everything changes. She really understood that. And she became my business partner. And when she did, this company changed. Now I'm going to flip ahead here a few, just a minute. Let's stop and think about it. So far as we know, we've got one life. And it's really a lifestyle. It's about our contribution.
experience can allow someone to go faster. That's what Tony and I have been doing collectively for almost 80 years. Isn't that freaking crazy? And it's what we still do at the highest level. And it's what we've been teaching people to do for almost a decade. To take your life experience, the good, bad, the ugly, the breakthroughs, the support, condense it and
Thank you. It's about how we spend our days. It's dependent on how we see our self-image. You see, how we see ourselves is going to determine where we go and what we do. Now, everyone has a story. I want to begin to tell you my story. It's rather interesting from my perspective when I look at it. It may be for you. One day when I was 26 years old, a man sat down with me and he put a big R on a sheet of paper. And he said, well, that R represents results. He said, results always tell an interesting story. They tell the truth. And he said, there's three areas that we want to look at in our life. Happiness, health, and wealth. Now, I was a very messed up young guy. I was 26. I really didn't know which end was up. I was a lost soul. This man obviously saw that. And he said, Bob, these are three areas that we really want to pay attention to. Happiness, health, and wealth. Then he asked me how I was doing. Well, I wasn't doing very well. And he said, you know, you don't seem to be the happiest guy I've ever met.
What?
He said, I've only known you for a short time, but I see you catching colds frequently. So you're not the healthiest guy. And he said, when it comes to wealth,
Mom, I will not ask for
I've never
more.
seen,
Okay, I'm
never
coming.
seen you
So
any
can
money.
you give me
Hi.
Now, if we brought the truth
Techni
out,
said hi.
I was
Pamela
earning
said
$4,000 a
hi.
year.
Cairo said hi.
carrots?
Hi, everybody.
Mama, carrots
$6,000.
cannot say hi.
Carol. Step
I
up.
was earning 4, I owed 6. I was in a bad spot. Do you know that there's a whole lot of people who live that way their whole life? They owe more money than they earn. Then he asked me, he said, Bob, you ever study anything? And I said, I don't know, what do you mean? Well, I said, you read anything?
Food.
I said, no, I can't read.
I
Now,
buy.
I could read. I just didn't read.
I'm coming.
You see,
Go sit down.
a strange place. Most people don't read, but they can read. And he gave me, he said, if you study this book, if you study this book and then do exactly what I tell you, you can have anything you want. Now, I didn't believe that, but I believe he believed it. And I don't know why, but I decided I was going to do exactly what he said. When I was 26, I had never done what somebody told me. I'd gone to high school for 2 months. I had no formal education. I had absolutely no business experience. I had nothing to offer people when I went out to look for a job. So here I was earning 406. And I started to listen. Now, he suggested that I decide what I want, write it on a card. I've had a card in my pocket ever since then. On the back of this card is a quote by Earl Nightingale. It's a gold card. He said, this great dream, this surging, dynamic thing, invisible to all expanse of humankind. I've got my goal written on the card. Now he said, I want to suggest you sit down and decide what you want.
If you love your peaceful place, but during festival season, Airbnb your home, and get paid to get away.
I asked Michael if I invest $100,000 in Coinbase right now, and I make $1 million back in 2025 run, give me a cent, he said. He pulled up his calculator. Bitcoin's at what, $100,000 as I'm recording this video? So for Bitcoin to 10x your
Well, I wrote on the card I wanted to have $25,000. Now, I mean, I didn't even know anyone with $25,000. I really didn't believe I'd ever have $25,000. But I wrote it on the card. That's what he said. Write what you want. That's what I wanted. And he said, I want you to start reading that card every day. Read it every day. Now, this was strange behavior for a guy in my position. But I took the card and I started reading it every day. Now, I'll tell you what happened. It's only in retrospect that I'm really aware of this. I started to think of earning money. Up until then, I was not. I was thinking of the problems that I had. I owed all this money. And that's all I was thinking about is the problems I had. This had me caused me thinking of earning money. Because I was thinking of earning, I started to hear people talking about it. There was a guy, his name was Al Phillips. He was talking about earning money. He was talking about it cleaning offices. I thought, I'm not proud I'll clean offices. But he says, make sure you do it for yourself. I had the opportunity to show me where to go where I could buy some used buckets and mops and a used floor machine. I needed $980. I didn't have any money. I couldn't borrow it. I wouldn't have even lent it to me because I knew I was never going to get it back. It's not that I was dishonest or wouldn't pay people. It's that I never earned enough money to get it. I finally found a guy in
my daycare backyard, I saw a chip in the daycare backyard. It was so small.
The first offices I had.
And then when I was walking to the other side, I saw a big lady. It was giant. Then I asked.
Yeah, I couldn't see the potato.
So it was giant like that.
First year,
Mommy.
I was earning $12,000.
And when I was getting her friends, he got stuck.
Okay. Go and tell the whole story to sister.
Okay? Now think, $175,000 a year. This is in 1961. I had 2 months high school and I had no business experience. That is a huge income.
It was so big. And when I was getting ready,
I was nothing but energy moving in every direction. I started to get people cleaning offices for me. Do you know, in less than 5 years, I was cleaning offices in Toronto, Montreal, Boston, Cleveland, Atlanta, and London, England. And I was earning over $1 million a year. Now here I was living in England. I was earning all this money. I had absolutely no idea what the hell I was doing. I was a young guy, no formal education, didn't understand money. You'd find me possibly down on Park Lane at the Playboy Club playing roulette. And I very rarely lost. I would be there with the idea, and I generally did. But one day, I come out of there, and I stopped and I thought, it was like I had some kind of euphoric experience. And I realized how just irresponsible I was being. And I thought, what I'm doing doesn't make any sense. And then I started to think, how did this happen to me? I'm not very bright. I'm a young guy, 26, 27 years old, 30 years old. And I'm earning all this money. And I had no idea what it was. And I thought, how did this happen? And I couldn't figure it out. Anybody could tell me how my life changed the way it changed in such a short period of time. How did I make such dramatic changes? How did my income go from $4,000 to over $1 million a year? Cleaning offices. How did that happen?
Yeah, right.
And so I made up my mind I was going to figure it out. And I started to study that and I really got into this. And I found that you and I are programmed. We're literally programmed. I had changed my program. This is deep in your mind. I had changed my program. And my whole life changed. And I've never stopped. And when I figured out I suddenly had the strongest urge to teach this to other people. All I wanted everybody to know why so few people are winning and so many people are losing. Now I want you to think about this for a moment. You're going to find people that are struggling all their life. They never went to school, they're not very smart, and they justify a way up to struggle. Then you're going to find another group that did go to school. They have all kinds of degrees coming out through business school, but they're struggling too. There's another group. It's a much smaller group, 5, 6, 8%. They're earning all kinds of money. Everything seems to work out right for them. They never went to school. They don't know which ends up. They were like me. But they're winning in a big way. Then there's others you're going to find they did go to school. And they got a great degree and they're winning in a big way. Now what I'm trying to get across is you're going to find some people that have done very well and they deserve what they do. And you're going to find others that are struggling the whole life.
Disney's Lilo and Stitch is now streaming on Disney Plus.
Why is it that this doesn't change?
Did you?
People are operating with the wrong information, in my opinion. And I decided I was going to start to teach this. And that's exactly what I'm starting to do. Now, if you'll pay very close attention, we're going to show you something pretty interesting. Think of it this way for a moment. You've got to study for a period of time if you're going to do anything. If you want to be a plumber, it's going to take you at least 5 years of studying, working at it. Well, there's the book that the man gave me. That's a photograph of the actual book. This is it here. I've been reading this since 1961. Every day I open and read about it. There's the man that gave it to me. His name is Raymond Douglas Stanford. The little boy that he's holding is my son. His name is Raymond Douglas Proctor. I named my second son after Ray. Now, he's a big guy today. That was a long time ago. He's grown up in his own family now. Ray Stanford became my mentor. He changed the course of my life. It'll never go back to be the same again. Then I moved on. I got that book on October the 21st, 1961. It'll be 60 years ago this Thursday that I started studying this. Then I really got into it and I came across this man, Leland Van der Waal. He had to be possibly one of the most brilliant people I have ever met. This is while we were well into studying this, I was working with other people. We started something called the $1 Million Forum. We were teaching people to earn $1 million a year by setting up multiple sources of income. It was at the $1 Million Forum. I started it actually with Mark Victor Hansen and Mel Van der Waal, and then we brought in Jack Canfield. And Mark and Jack started the chicken soup for the soil bugs at the $1 Million Forum. This is one thing that he taught me that I'll never forget. This deal is strictly between you and yourself. No one else else is involved. In other words, don't blame anyone for anything. We've got to take responsibility for everything that happens in our life. Then I met these two gentlemen. Now I was listening to this, reading this book, listening to a record of this book. Earl Nightingale took this book, condensed it, and he put it on a record.
So he just put that
It was called Think and Grow Rich, and it was a long playing record. And I was listening to it, and then I got a hold of Earl Nightingale's Strangest Secret record, and I started to listen to that. One day in a sales meeting, I said, "God, I would really like to go and meet him." And I said, one of the men in the sales meeting said, "No, you wouldn't. If you wanted to meet him, you'd go and meet him." And I thought, damn, he's right. And so,
and I
I
got
got the phone, I phoned Chicago. I was in Toronto.
So
That means they were an hour earlier than they were on Central. We're on Eastern. And of course the office wasn't open, but somebody did answer the phone. And they said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Nightingale isn't in, but if you'd like to talk to him, I'm sure he'll call you. Leave your number." So I left my number. And a little while later, somebody said, "Hey, Ron, you're on the phone." I pick up the phone. "Oh, this is Earl Nightingale." Well, I hung up the phone. That's how he starts all of his recordings. Hello, this is Earl Nightingale. And here he is on the phone. I told him how much I appreciated what he'd done. I'd really like to spend some time with him. He gave me the opportunity to come down and meet him for an hour. It was in 333 North Michigan, Chicago. And now I went down and I met him. And when I was leaving his office, I asked him, I said, "Earl, what's the secret? What is the big deal in life?" He says, "There is no secret. There isn't any big deal." He says, "Simply a matter of sitting down, decide exactly what you want. Then make up your mind you're going to get it. And don't take your sight off the goal." I knew exactly what I wanted. See, I've been listening to his recordings for a number of years. I wanted to work with him. And so I made up my mind I would. In 1968, that's me. I was his vice president of sales.
Watch this. I'm going to launch a business in 60 seconds using Shopify's AI Sidekick.
I was like a young preschool. Earl Nightingale was absolutely brilliant. Was another man. Absolutely brilliant. And they would be my men. Now I'd had then Leland Bell Vanderwall, then Earl Nightingale. See, I was working with absolutely brilliant people. I was getting education. I was learning something that most people never learn. Now, the one thing they taught me, that mindset is everything. It's everything. I want you to remember that. If you don't remember anything else today, remember that. Mindset has given me a life most people just dream of living. Mindset will do the same for you. The secret is in your mindset. Now, you see, when you take and write your goal on the card, now I've got my goal written here, and I share this goal with Arash, who's a very important part of our company. This goal will happen just as sure as it's going to get dark tonight, because I will not take my mind off it. And that is really the secret. You've got to keep your mind on what you want. That's mindset. Now think of this for a moment. Here's John Kennedy, when he was the President of the United States, with Dr. Werner von Braun, who was the mastermind of the moonshots. President Kennedy asked him a question. What would it take to build a rocket that will carry a man to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth? Von Braun asked him the will to do it, and he answered him in 10 seconds. He knew exactly what it would take to get anything you want. Get the picture in your mind and hold that picture in your mind. mental faculty. We're going to talk about that. It's a mental faculty that enables you to put one idea on the screen of the mind to the exclusion of all outside distractions. I knew when I wrote this on the card that I'm going to keep this picture in my mind until I see it manifest in this material world. And it must happen. Mindset is very important. Now I want you to think of this. 5% of success is due to strategy. 95% of success is due to mindset. It's focusing your mind on where you're going. Now I want to introduce you to a person in our company. This lady is one of the senior executives in this company. Our company operates all over the world. We do millions of dollars of volume in business. We operate in every country in the world. Now, let's keep looking at this. The trick is the goal. You see, the goal becomes your mindset. When you really get this down right, get it on the goal card. Write it on a card, put the card in your pocket, and carry it with you every day. See, when I put my hand in my pocket and I touch the goal card, a picture comes on the screen of my mind. It's the picture that's written on the back of the card. Now, I've been doing this since I was 26. 26. I learned to do this a long, long time ago. And I'm going to tell you it works like a charm. Now, you're going to find people that are laughing at you. They're going to say, that'll never work. I love what James Cook says. Do just once what other people say you can't do, and you will never pay attention to their limitations again. This is so important. Okay? It's important that you begin to think. I mean, really think. Albert Schweitzer came from Africa to London. One time he was standing by a plane in London airport. Somebody asked him, "What's wrong with people today?" He said he thought about it for a while, and then he said, finally, people say they don't. And if you want to test this, listen to what most people are saying. Stand back and watch what most people are doing. They're really not thinking. Now look at this. Use these mental faculties to create the world you want, you and your family to live in. And never...
That thing you went through, the divorce, the career you hated at first, but then you mastered, the relationship.
Never settle for less. Now here's one of the first lessons in life. These are mental faculties that you and I have been given. There's something that are very big and very powerful. We're the only form of life that have these higher faculties. These higher faculties are in our conscious mind. And these are the higher faculties enable us to build anything we want. When you see all these beautiful buildings all over the world, you see these, it was through these, utilizing these higher faculties that made the difference. Now, most people know very little about these. You might ask yourself what you know about them. If somebody asked you to give a talk on any one of these, how long could you talk on them? See, the truth is, we've never been taught much about those at all. You can go all the way through school, they do not teach you anything about these. Do you know what we do? We live by these here. We go by what you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. Now, there are sensory factors. All members of the animal field have these higher factors. I've got a couple of little dogs at home that can hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. But they don't have these other higher faculties.
Mommy, I didn't find another one upstairs.
Focus on.
I was just
as we
laying
go
on
through
this
this
chair.
work, get into
Any
it
guesses
deeper,
to help you?
we will talk more about each one of these faculties.
Yes.
Okay, go try.
Sister!
Please, stand
Is
it
how
up.
we
Go
see
access.
things. If we change our perception, everything in our
Stop.
life
When
changes.
somebody said hi
So,
to you.
Yeah.
I want to suggest you give some thought to that. If you come back and watch the replay of this,
Mama.
write those down if you haven't already.
Mama.
Now, it's all about the
I'm
mind.
super duper
It's
hungry.
really all about the mind. Your marvelous mind. It's how you're utilizing your mind. Understanding the laws governing the mind is essential if you want to harmonize with the money frequency. Can we make that go full screen, please?
So can I get more?
Understanding the laws governing the mind is essential if you want to harmonize with the money frequency. Okay? Now look here for a moment. See all these lines, all these frequencies. Everything we want operates in this area. Everything. I want to suggest that you pick a target for the next 30 days. See, I'm going to listen to this. I'm going to pay attention to what Proctor's saying here. And I'm going to set a target for the next 30 days. Now, I showed you what I did. How I did it. It was over the period of a year. Then I went from earning $4,000 to $175,000 in a year. And I was just paying attention to this information. Didn't know very much, but I kept doing what I suggested. Okay? Now, let's let this circle represent the mind. And we're going to talk about the mind. We're going to talk about how the mind functions. And I think you're going to enjoy it. Now, let's take a look at yourself. We're talking about energy. The mind is energy. You're a mass of pure energy. Like everything, you function on frequencies. You do. Now, if you stood in front of an infrared television camera in a completely dark room, you would see your body as a glistening, radiating, gleaming form. Do you know you've got more power in your hand than you would need to light up the building you're in for probably a week? There's about 11 million kilowatt hours per pound of potential energy locked up in the human body. Our body is nothing but an absolute mass of energy. Now, what we want to do is learn how to direct this energy. That's what really made the difference for me. That's when my income went from $4,000 to over $1 million a year. And I've had it much higher than that. That was way back in the 60s. I want to suggest you really pay attention to this. Really pay attention. Your spiritual DNA is perfect. Full screen, please. It requires no modification, no improvement. It's absolutely perfect. This is your spiritual DNA. You see, the essence of you is pure, unadulterated spirit. Now, maybe you've never heard that before. Maybe it doesn't even make any sense to you. It doesn't have to. Just keep listening to me. Keep paying attention. I'll go back up full screen again. Now, look at your spiritual DNA is perfect. You are pure spirit. Spirit is all-knowing. Spirit is all-powerful. And is ever-present. Now, think of that. You're nothing but pure, unadulterated spirit. You are. Spirit is all-knowing. It's all-powerful. And it's ever-present. So the part of you that's all-knowing, there's a part of you that's all-powerful, and a part of you that's ever-present. You may be sitting there and say, get out of here, Proctor. What are you talking about? I know what I'm talking about. Do you understand this subject? I've been studying it for 60 years. That's a long time to study one subject. I'm not much good at anything else, but I'm very good at this. If you will really let me help you, I'll tell you, everything will change.
If you want to Airbnb your home, but you could use some help running the day-to-day.
Are you truly what or who you pretend to be? Good question. Okay? You are a spiritual being. Now you may say, well, what's this got to do with the money frequency? It's got everything to do with the money frequency. You're a spiritual being. You live in a physical body. Now, most people think they're having a spiritual experience. The truth is, you are spiritual. You're having a physical experience. Okay? You have an intellect.
want the muffin though.
You have an intellect.
There's no more.
And with that intellect, you control your
Treasure
emotions.
wants them
It's the
too.
intellect that dictates your emotional state.
Right, Tom.
Now, you know your emotional state
Okay.
controls a whole lot of things.
Go upstairs.
So stay with me here.
No,
Okay.
no, no.
It's the
No,
intellect
no, no,
that
no,
controls the
no,
emotions.
no.
Okay? Controls the emotions. We want to try and really grasp that because we're going to talk about the intellect. Now, you're a spiritual being, and let's understand this. Spirit is 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. Now, you may agree or disagree with what I'm saying, but if you disagree with it, ask yourself, how much have you studied it? Why would you disagree with something you haven't studied? Spirit is 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. Now, understand this. Spirit operates in a very orderly way. It operates by law, okay? Let these lines, we'll go full screen again, please. Let these lines represent levels of vibration. Levels of vibration. Okay? Spirit is the highest form of vibration, and the physical is the lowest. And then the connecting part in the center is the intellect. Now you see, we're the only form of life that is given this. It's the intellect that enables us to tap into the spiritual side and change the physical. That's why we are moving ahead at such a rapid clip today. Everything operates in the spiritual level. Operates on a frequency. What we do is bring it down into form. Now understand this. Each level of vibration is hooked up to the one above and the one below. Everything's all connected together. This is very important we understand this. So let's take a look at it another way. Let's say this is a glass of water. And we put heat under the water and we boil it. The water obviously turns into steam. And then the steam turns into air, ether, or gas. Now let's think of this. The ether, the steam, and the water. They are all hooked together.
Yeah.
There's no line of demarcation where one stops, the other starts. We actually cause the water to turn to steam, the steam to turn to ether. Well, we can cause energy of one nature turn into an energy of another nature. What do you think money is? Money is nothing but an idea. Money is an energy. Now look here for a moment. Blow this up. Screen. Spirit, intellect, and the physical. Now you have those intellectual factors. You activate those intellectual factors, tap into the spiritual level. That's where thought is. You pull the thoughts together, and what do? You build an idea. If you hold the idea in your mind long enough, that idea will move into physical form in your life. Now, that's a very big idea. Let's suppose you build an idea having a company. You get that idea to turn into results because I've done it. Just sit and think and see it. I sat in a den, very small room, in a house in Glenview, Illinois in 1973. I took my pen and I wrote on a pad, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world.
The orange one?
I was the only one there. I had just left working with Nightingale Conant. I had gone out on my own. I said, I got to build a company. That was in 1973. I believe it was in March of this year.
Get me the
Presentation
potato.
much the same as this.
Get me the potato.
93,000 people tuned into it.
Baba,
Mikey
baba,
interrupted
baba.
me and she said,
Meow,
Bob,
meow, meow,
I think
meow,
you'd like to know
meow,
what this will mean to every country in the world. I set the goal in 1973 I reached it in 2021. Why would I stay with the goal that long? Because I understood how it operated, and this is how it's operating. This is absolute law, that you take your mind and you tap in and you can think. You tap into spirit, that's where everything is. And you build a picture of the good that you desire. It must move into form. What did Von Braun tell John Kennedy? All you need is a will to do it. Did we go to the moon? No ordinary people can buy a trip into space. They're doing it. Pay attention, this is really interesting. Now let's look here. There's the mind. Okay? Now let's see how the mind functions, because the mind is energy. The mind operates on two different levels. The first level is the conscious, the educated mind. The second level is the emotional, universal mind. Okay? Now that mind manifests through the physical body. Whatever's going on in the mind will express itself through the body, will produce the action and produce the results. So let's see how this works. Let's pay some attention here. Let's look at this man in 1934 was the man Thurman Fleet. He was very involved in the holistic health movement. He was very involved in the mind. He realized mind was an activity, it wasn't a thing. He said, no one's ever seen the mind. In order to gain clarity and eliminate confusion, he's going to create an image of the mind. No one, understand this, no one has ever seen the mind. So come back here again. Let's look. He's saying to build a picture of the mind, and there it is. And he said you divide the mind into two parts. There's the conscious mind, there's the subconscious mind, and the body. Now let me say, we're studying. This is the most valuable idea I've ever learned. And I feel very indebted to Leland Valvanderwald for teaching me this. He not only taught it, he taught it in depth. He burned it into my mind. I have taught the workings of the mind to psychiatrists. I've never really understood what I was teaching until I showed it to them. Okay? So let's take a look and see what happens here. There's the conscious mind, subconscious, and the body. The conscious mind is your thinking mind.
Mommy,
That's your educated
this
mind.
is the last one that
So
I
let's
ate.
really understand. The subconscious mind operates quite different from the conscious mind. The conscious mind can think, and of course has the ability to choose. Okay? It has the ability to accept or reject. You don't have to accept what's going on. Why take on negative information and get yourself into a sweat? Your conscious mind also has the ability to originate. Now your subconscious, it must accept whatever you get, and it has no ability to reject it. Now get this. You cannot determine the difference between that which is real and that which is imagined. Your mind cannot determine the difference between what's imagined and what's real. It's so important to understand that. So look here for a minute. Here you are today. Social media, other people, Netflix, podcasts, you're getting inundated with all this information. Now remember we said you had the ability to eliminate, to reject that information. Most people don't reject it. They just turn it on and keep listening to it. Put it back full screen. Now listen, you have the ability to reject it. You say, get out of here. But most people don't do that. In fact, most people are not even thinking. They leave their subconscious mind wide open, and that stuff goes right in. And what we tell you about the subconscious, it has no ability to reject. This is so important that most people say, well, how does that happen? Why does that happen? It's the paradigm. The paradigm. You see, you're programmed. You're programmed. How did that happen? Well, let's take a look as when we're infants. Here we are as infants, okay? The subconscious mind is wide open, okay? And whatever's going on around the subconscious goes right in. And it has absolutely no ability to reject. It's through the repetition of this information going in that we build a paradigm. Now look, this happens when we're young, when we're babies. Our paradigm is built. It's all kinds of information coming into our mind from other people, just dumping into our subconscious mind. And that's how the paradigm is formed, in our subconscious mind. And that's how people become what we are. Now let's look at this for a moment. We already have the knowledge and the power to accomplish most anything we want. However, we have not yet developed a clear understanding of how paradigms are formed or how they control our habitual behavior. Therefore, we frequently don't do what we already know how to do. People already know how to do better, but they don't do it. They have superior knowledge.
First interview?
No.
You might want to prepare more. I've got an MBA, 10 years in the field. This
Results which cause confusion and frustration. So here we are here. We've got all this knowledge in our conscious mind and in our subconscious mind.
I
The
will not.
results that we're getting
My sister
are
took
not
my
equal to
last
the knowledge that
gummy.
we've got. People know how to do
My
so much
sister
better than
took
they're
my
doing. Go
last
back full screen, please.
Well,
All right? People know how to do
Took
better,
my
but they're
last
not doing it. The results they
gummy.
get are not equal to the
Mommy,
knowledge they've
sister
got.
took my last gummy.
It isn't the knowledge that produces the results. It's the paradigm. It's what's going on in the subconscious mind that produces the results. If you're going to change the results, you must change the paradigm.
But can
You got to build a new paradigm, and that probably results in a new self-image, or it calls for a new self-image.
That's in my room.
Now this is so powerful, and it's so understood. Paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. And almost all of our habitual behavior is habitual. Okay? Stay with me here. I'm going to show you. I want you to look at the areas of your life that your paradigm has an enormous influence over. It controls your perception, which controls how you see things. Your paradigm controls your use of time. Your paradigm controls your creativity. Your paradigm controls your effectiveness. It controls your productivity. It controls your logic. All of these things are controlled by your paradigm and your ability to earn money. Now look it. It's almost like there's a wall around these areas. And every time we go to move out with one of these areas, we hit the wall. What we've got to understand is that we can change all that. We want to understand the second you make up your mind, you're going to change the paradigm. Change it, but you're going to. Those walls come down. When you actually change it, just imagine how your entire life will change as you begin improving any or all of these areas. The change will be huge, and I'll tell you something else, it'll be permanent. Now think of this. If the only thing you changed was your use of time, that's all you changed was your use of time, think of how your ability to earn money would change. The ability to earn money would change by an enormous degree. You must develop a beautiful image of yourself and study to gain a true understanding of your real potential. Now, if you could come back full screen. Because we have a bit of a problem getting this going today, I'm not quite sure what caused the problem. I'm in a place other than where the problem was. And we're going to continue the remainder of this tomorrow. We'll get into the vibrations, we'll get into frequencies, and we'll show you how everything is a frequency. And when you get on the money frequency, you're going to find that everything in your life will start to change. Now, I went from earning $4,000 a year to earning millions of dollars. If I can do it, you can do it. I got Mikey to come on and talk for a little bit about her background, where she is today, because Mikey's background and mine are very much alike. We both came from nowhere. Now, I believe anybody can change their life. I honestly believe anybody can. We have one of the key people in our company. He is the vice president of sales for our entire company. Is Arash Mursagi.
Okay, so you can start selling a product online with Shopify in 1 minute. It has never been a better time to launch your own. If you think you don't have the skills to do it, you're wrong. First up, create your account and be compliant.
Okay. Your potatoes are baking, okay? I'm baking potatoes right here.
Yeah, for another company. Well, I did. I
Give you
worked
what?
at Nangel Kodak for
I'm
5
not
years.
giving you any more garlic. I'll give you watermelon. No more gummy. Do you want watermelon? Okay.
The idea I'm trying to get across is I'm not that smart.
Wait.
Now, you're going to come across people that are absolutely brilliant. Maybe they can figure you right through a brick wall. I'm not one of those guys.
Okay.
And if you give me a slide rule or something like that, I'm lost. But this, I started and I understood it. I want you to understand it. Now watch this very carefully. This man, I talked to you yesterday about him, Leela Val Vanderwall. I want to honor this man. He's gone now, God bless him.
It's good. Come.
And I miss him a lot. He and I were partners in business. We did seminars together. We were so in tune. We were both operating with the same information. He could stop talking, I'd start. I'd stop, he'd start. I mean, we were really locked into each other. Now, he taught me something that I mentioned yesterday, and I want to elaborate on it today. Use these mental faculties to create the world you want, and never settle for something you don't want. Now, you have these. These faculties are what separates you from the rest of the animal kingdom. Now I want you to think about this. You're the highest form of life on the planet. No other form of life has what you've got. Now you have these higher faculties, you have perception. If you're having a problem with a situation, you just have to shift your perception. Look at it differently. As you start to look at the problem from a different point of view, everything changes. Now, Earl Nightingale taught me an idea when I was working with him about perception that was important. He said, if you have a problem, and he said you don't seem to be able to solve it, write it out on a piece of paper and put it in the center of a table or in the center of your desk. So here I've got a problem written out. I can put it right in the center of my desk. Now I said, sit down and look at it. Now I said, the words you write are nothing but symbols to create an image in your mind. That's what was written on the paper. Then go sit on the other side of the table and look at it from that point of view. Now, I might go to the other side of the table and I'd say, how would Earl Nightingale look at this? And into the table. And I go there and sit and look at it. And I would say, how would Edison look at this? He'd say, well, you couldn't do that. Yes, you can. You can do whatever you want. You're free. Now, if you don't get the answer there, put it at the other end of the table. Look at it and look at it and look at it. And say, how would Henry Ford look at this situation? Now, if you keep doing that, what your perception of the problem you've got, and I guarantee you start to come up with a solution. That's what perception does. If there's something you don't like about a situation, shift your perception on it. And when you do that, the situation will change. Now, look at this for a moment. We go from there to imagination. Napoleon Hill, he said in Think and Grow Rich, he said, imagination is the most powerful,
It's okay.
it's the most marvelous, inconceivably powerful force you'll ever know. Now, your imagination will take you anywhere you want to go. Your imagination will take you to the other side of the world. It will take you into a whole new life. And you've got one. Most people are using their imagination against them. You're imagining everything's going to get worse. You start to imagine everything will get better. I have a license plate in my car. Expect what you want. Expect the situation to change. Now we're coming back to imagination a little later on. Then you have the will. Remember I quoted Dr. Werner von Braun when John Kennedy asked him what would it take to build a rocket that would carry a person to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth? In 10 seconds, he said, the will to do it. See, von Braun knew, didn't matter what you thought of, you're capable of doing it. We're God's highest form of creation. We're working with energy. Everything's energy. He said the will to do it. See, the will is the mental faculty that gives you the ability to hold one idea on the screen of the mind to the exclusion of everything else. Watch the great golfers. I'm talking about the real good ones. They have highly evolved will. They have the ability to lock in on an idea. Nothing can disturb it. I'll tell you how you can develop your will. If you light a candle in a candle holder, I'll put it opposite where your favorite chair is. And every now and then when you sit down, light the candle, sit in the chair, totally relaxed, lock in on the flame. Focus on that flame. See how long you can stay focused on the flame. It'll probably be 2 or 3 seconds, would shatter a family record. But if you keep practicing this, your mind will wander. Don't feel bad. Bring it back. You're developing a will. That gives you the ability to focus. You know what happens when you do that? You create power. See, there's energy flowing to and through you. And when you focus, you're giving power to that energy. Let's look at it this way. Let's suppose I'm in a dark room. I'm in a dark room. There is a sign on the wall opposite me, but I can't see it. Now let's suppose I light the candle. There's light in the room now. I can see the sign, but I can't read it. Why? Because there's not enough light. Let's suppose I take the same amount of candle light and I put it in a some kind of a focused situation, a flashlight. And I'll take the flashlight and I'll hold it and I'll focus on the sign. I can read every word. Now what did I do? I marshaled all that energy, focused, and that's what the will does for you. It brings all your energy to focus on something. Now let's go to the next one, your memory. Do you know there's no such thing as a bad memory? Everyone has a perfect. I've on a number of occasions. Harry Lorraine has the best trained memory in the world. I worked with one time in Toronto. He memorized Time magazine flying from New York to Toronto. And he demonstrated using the magazine in Toronto. It was phenomenal. He had a partner, Jerry Lucas, had been a famous basketball player. Anyway, he, for a time, was running seminars in San Francisco, teaching people how to memorize the Bible. We had a man come over to a seminar that we were doing here in Toronto, one of the Matrix seminars, and he was a psychiatrist from Saudi Arabia, and he was teaching people to memorize the Quran. Now imagine memorizing the Quran, memorizing the Bible. Well, you've got a perfect memory.
Don't we all want to build a business that matters? Listen, I've been self-employed for 40 plus years. I was 17, I started a firewood business. I've been so blessed to make my own decisions.
Memorizing the Quran, memorizing the Bible. Well, you've got a perfect memory.
Why's the hut?
It's just that it needs developing. Every one of these faculties are perfect. It just needs developing. Then you have another one. You've got intuition. Now, I have been working for years to develop my intuition. And I'm getting very good at it. But I know I can get better. Now, what is intuition? Intuition is a mental faculty that enables you to pick up vibration and then translate it in your mind. So in other words, you can pick up what somebody else is thinking and translate it in your mind. You can pick up the energy from another person. If they shift their energy, you will feel it. This is very, very powerful. You communicate through intuitive measures. Now you see, we take our telephone and we can communicate. I mentioned earlier, in Kota Kinabalu in Malaysia, from Albany in New York, you can do that without the telephone. You can do it with your intuitive mind. And you're doing this. Every now and then you get a feeling you should call somebody. And as you think of it, the phone rings. They're on the line. See, they were thinking of phoning you. You picked that thought up. You went to act on it. They acted on it first. That's your intuition. You have the ability to develop that. And last but not least, we have reason. That gives us the ability to think. Thinking is the highest function you and I are capable of. Now, unfortunately, all the way through school, nothing is taught on that. What are we told? Will you look at this? Will you listen to what I'm talking to you about? And it's all just our sensory factors. Do you know that your little friends that are running around on four legs, they can see, hear, smell, taste, touch. But they don't have all these other higher faculties. I think you want to start developing that. Now, stay with me here, because as you start developing these, everything changes. See, it's all about the mind. And we talked about this yesterday. We'll talk about it again. It's your marvelous mind. You have, you may be looking at your results today and you may say, well, I've never really done anything. But you can. Start now. Just start now. Don't think you can't. Understanding the laws governing the mind. So, if you want to harmonize with the money frequency, get your mind. That's what you're going to do. You're not going to do it with your arm, your leg. Doesn't matter how physically strong you are. You're doing this mentally. And you can do a very good job. Now, I mentioned yesterday that all the teachers I've had, they all help me focus on my mindset. I have a very strong mindset. It's given me a life that most people just dream of living. That's what my mindset has done. Mindset will do the same for you. It'll do exactly the same for you. The secret is your mindset. Just put this full screen for a second time and let's look at it. Now, here I am. I started out, no formal education, no business experience, no money. I was earning $4,000 out of 6. In less than 5 years, I went into an office cleaning business. So why did I do that? I did it just to earn some money. I didn't know how to do anything else. So I got a bucket mop and I went to work. And the guy said, you should be working for yourself. So that's what I did. I got one contract. It was $15 a month. I washed the floor twice a month. Then I got another one for $65 a month.
It's not big enough.
Within months, that year, I was up to that. I had $12,500 a month in contracts I was earning. If you annualize that, that's $175,000 a year. In less than 5 years, I had offices going in Toronto, Montreal, Boston, Cleveland, Atlanta, and London, England, and my income was up over $1 million a year. This does not happen by accident. It happens by design. I'll go full screen again. This is the mindset. I had a mindset. They had me write what I wanted on a card. Your mindset, that's what your goal is. Mindset will do the same for you as it's done for me. It's given me a life that most people just dream of living. The secret is mindset. So let's stay with me here. It's not about, it's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. People don't believe they've got the power that they've got.
Make
It's
it.
rather sad.
I'm trying to buy
This
this.
is where you set
I
your
made it
goal.
5 times.
And that's where your mindset comes in. Because your goal is the mindset. You get the picture of what you want in your mind. I have a picture in my mind right now, and I'm locked into the same goal as one of our senior executives. He and I have the same goal. We're locked into it. That gives it more power. Now, we're only limited by weakness of attention and poverty of imagination. So let's get our imagination going, and then let's focus. Let's really focus. I'm going to run through a couple of things, and I'm going to get into vibration with you. When you talk about goals, this is where most people operate. They operate with an A-type goal. An A-type goal is something you already know how to do. And people are doing it. It's just a repeat performance. They do the same thing over and over again. I remember talking to a fellow one time. He said his goal was to get a new car. I said, well, that's pretty good. And I said, what kind of a car you got now? I think he said a Ford, something like that. And I said, how long you had it? He said, about 4 years. And I said, how old is it? He said, 4 years old. So I said, what you're telling me, you got a new Ford 4 years ago? He said, yeah. I said, well, you see, you've known how to do that for 4 years. That's not a goal.
Let me take a look at this picture. Cool, right? What you're seeing here is a picture of the
We
aura
all
of
want
This is not
doubles.
You could use it. You might get yourself a new car. You can do that. You can get a new Ford. But you're capable of much better. So they start to raise the bar. So then they start to plan. And they start to think of what I can do. So you think, well, if I did this and I did that and I did this and so, then I could do this. Well, what you're doing here, you're doing something you already know how to do again. Because you planned it out in your mind. Where do you want to go? Now look at this. I want you to look at this carefully. You want to go up here. You want to go what I want. That's where fantasy comes in. And that's why we knock it down. This is something you don't want to knock down. This is something you want to get your mind going on. Get your imagination going and see what you want. But most people don't. They go from down here, what they know how to do, up to what they think they know. Nothing's working right. They come back here, then they go back up there, then they come back down here, and that's where they stay stuck. Right there. And that's how they go through life. Now that is rather sad. That's the way it works. I want you to pay real close attention to this. Remember what we said? An A-type goal, people are doing what they already know how to do. That is a waste of energy. It's an absolute waste of energy. I have the B-type goal. And the B-type goal is doing what you think you can do. Well, that's not going to do it. What you want to do is you got to stretch. You got to really stretch. Blow this up, Johnny. Look here, you got to stretch. You've got to really get your mind going. This is where you kick your imagination into high gear. And you get up there in a C-type goal. A C-type goal is what do you really want to do? That's where you've got to go. You don't know how, but you know you will. Now that is the kind of attitude, it'll give you anything you want. It's given me an income, it's given me millions of dollars a year. I'm 87, and I'm still going strong. 90, the age has got nothing to do with it. It's your attitude. You get the right attitude, baby, and I'm going to tell you, you can do anything you want. Now stick with us. Look at this. This is pretty beautiful. I love this. When you look at it, you really think about it. Here's Albert Einstein. He said, blow it up. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. It's physics. Now look at it. He said, match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get it. Get that reality. Now listen. Listen to me here. What are we saying? We know everything's here. Nothing's created or destroyed. Everything's energy. What we've got to do is get on the frequency. We've got to match the frequency. Now, what do we mean by that? That means that you've got to get vibrating, you do, on the same frequency of the good that you desire. You literally fall in love with the idea of what you want. If you hold that idea in your mind, you will start moving toward it, and it'll start moving toward you. I remember Omega one time, he said, when you set a goal and you start to move towards it, it'll start to move towards you. I thought, how in the hell could that happen? Well, it happens because you're on the same frequency. Everything on that frequency is going to come into your life. If I could sit down and lay out something and show you. There's a woman, Joan Passavant. She lives in Western Canada. And she wanted to put everything I've done in a book. I guess like some kind of a biography. I was thinking about it the other day, because I've done so many strange things, and most people would laugh at it. Most people would say it won't work. But I just had an innate awareness of this, and I knew if you stay focused, it's got to work. It's not maybe or sometime. Match the frequency. Get on the same frequency as the good you desire. Now look at this. This is something you want to blow up. You can control the flow of the thought energy. You gotta let it flow freely to and through you, improving everything with which it connects. Now, we've got a couple of ideas that we show in presentation. I'm going into the frequencies here in just a moment with you. And we say there's two things you have to know. You have to know where you are and you have to know where you're going. He started to control the flow of thought energy, and he let it flow freely to and through him, improving everything with which it connects. Now go full screen here and leave it there. A frequency is a level of vibration. Keep this in mind. There are an infinite number of frequencies. Infinite. No end to them. Start counting. You can never stop. Infinite number of frequencies. Think of this. And we mentioned this before. Every frequency is connected to the one above and the one below.
Messi as goalie.
This is so important we know this. This is how you can connect from one frequency to another. You just move from one to another. You're capable of doing that. I mentioned that I could get someone on the phone. This is a phone. There's no wires hooked up to this. In Kota Kinabalu in Malaysia. That's right over on the coast of Malaysia. And by the way, it's one of the most beautiful places you'll ever visit. I love it. People there, natives of that area, they're just absolutely remarkable individuals. But at any rate, you could be, I said, in Albany, New York, somebody else is in Kota Kinabalu, and because you're on the same frequency, you can communicate. I'm going to go back full screen. Now look here for a moment.
Sean went from being just another real estate agent to becoming a Zillow top 3 agent, while growing his team from 17 to 40 agents. Before this, he was already...
I'm going to go back full screen. Now look here for a moment. Let's say you are there, where the X is. Take an honest look at where you are in your life, and you can see how you got there. Now this is something, or both Arash and I were telling you people have difficulty with. Let these frequencies represent, or these lines represent frequencies. Now they could represent different points in your life. Each one of those lines represents a different point in your life. You were living on a different frequency. Stop and think of where you were living 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 16 years ago. Each one of these levels represent that part of life. So you're here. You've raised yourself to this level of consciousness. Now think for a moment. You've raised yourself to this level of consciousness, and you want something far beyond where you are.
Hey,
You say,
chill out.
that's where I want to go there. But you have no idea how to get there. You don't have enough money. But full screen. All right? The screen's more important than me right now. All right? That's where you want to go. And you get there. So what do? You just let it fade. But it won't stay away. It comes back. And it keeps coming back to your mind. That's what you want. But you don't know how to get there. This is where the proper mentor comes in. This is where I was fortunate. I had the right mentor. The right mentor will teach you the way to live by law. Make it fair. You think you can skirt around and do things a little on the shady side and make an extra couple of bucks? You're wasting your energy. Keep your energy focused. That's where you want to go. And we've got to keep this in mind. To move to a much higher frequency of thought, you must first consent. In other words, that means you've got to decide. I can't do it for you. As much as I would like to. For my brother, my sister, my aunts and uncles, my nieces, my nephews, my grandkids. This is something I would like to do for almost everybody I know. When I see them struggle, I think, God, I'd love to do this for you. But you can't do it. You got to do it for yourself. Move to a much higher frequency. You got to consent. And then you have to adapt to the ideas and feelings the new frequency represent. Do you remember when you changed school? The energy was different. You had to adapt to the new frequency. Do you remember when you started in this new company? You didn't know anybody. You'd hear people look and say, that's the new guy. That's the new girl. You had to adapt to the new frequency. Adapt to the feelings, the ideas. Now keep thinking. At the suggestion of a move, your paradigm will instantly put up a huge battle. And it'll continually fight you. You must take conscious control over the paradigm, remove and replace it. You see, the paradigm is that idea that's in your subconscious mind. It started to be built in there when you were a baby. But before that, before you were even born, it was being built. At the moment of conception, the genetic joint was connected. You see, all mom's DNA and all dad's DNA came together, and that created your DNA. So that's part of your paradigm. It goes back right into your parents and your grandparents' family. This is very powerful paradigm shift powers. Try and change a paradigm. It is difficult. A paradigm is our habitual way of looking at life, our habitual way of living. Well, you've got to change the paradigm. You see, and just at the suggestion of a move, that paradigm instantly puts up a change. When you think of doing something that's far beyond what you have ever done, instantly the paradigm will try and stop you. So here you are here, and that's where you want to go. We got to understand is there is a place. There is a place. You see, that isn't just sitting out there by itself. The good you desire is a frequency. There's your money frequency. That's a frequency. That's the new building you want. That's the new dress you want. That's the new car you want. That's the new house you want. That's a summer. That's a trip you want to take. It's something you see in your imagination. But I'm going to tell you, there's a frequency that matches with it. You've got to get your energy in harmony with that. Now look here for a moment. The moment your belief matches with any state, you fuse with it. This union results in the activation and the projection of its plots, plans, conditions, and circumstances. Now seriously think about what we're talking about here. The moment your belief matches with any state, so you've got this beautiful idea, you're studying, you think, I'm going to get that. This is, how do you fuse with it? You act like the person you want to become. Every personal development course you'll ever look at, act like the person you want to become. The moment your belief matches with any state, you fuse with it. You become one with it. This union results in the activation and projection of its plot, plans, conditions, and circumstances. the law of attraction, everything's falling into place. See, is this ever easy? As long as you do this, it will be. Because you're working in harmony with the law. Now, this new state of conscious awareness, from which you view the world, it becomes your home. But remember, that old paradigm is trying to stop you. So you've got to understand, as you're making this new concept, your new home, this is where you're going to live mentally. Your old paradigm is trying to kick up a battle. Your new conscious awareness becomes your home from which you view the world. Now look at this. This is your workshop. If you're observant, you're going to see outer reality shaping itself upon the model of your imagination.
I can't tell you.
Oh, I hope you're getting this. Listen.
It could be
Let me show
something
you
better than food. The worst thing it could be is food.
See this? This is a record player. See this little record?
Unless he food on the snack. Neon jet.
I carry this with me every...
Daddy, you
Nor is this made to feel program a collection of Hello, this is Earl Nightingale. In this recording, the magic word is the first of 12 we save in this series titled How You Can Lead the Field in the Modern World. Before we start, I'd like you to know that I'm not going to try to tell you how to live your own life. It's none of my business, nor is it anybody else's business. It's your business. Nor is this Lead the Field program a collection of pleasantries, platitudes, or Pollyanna. It is a summation of more than 20 years of research on one subject, and that is, why do some people do so well in life, while so many more do not? And the first thing let's talk about is the magic word. The experts call it the most important word as far as the results we get from life are concerned in this or any other language. And that word is attitude. It is our attitude toward life which will determine life's attitude toward us.
See,
If you love your peaceful place, but during festival season,
I've probably listened to that recording a couple of thousand times. For a number of years, I played those records over and over and over. It's the repetition of an idea that makes the difference. Let me show you something I'm doing here now. I have a book holder here that holds a book open on my desk. Why do I have it? I made an appointment with Earl Nightingale in 1966. I got 1 hour of his time. It was at 333 North Michigan, where his office was. I phoned, I got an hour of his time. And I went there and I was talking to Earl for an hour. I was as nervous as you could be when I first got in there. Instantly I become relaxed. And he did that. He helped me just be as relaxed as anybody's ever been. And I said, I was talking to him. And it was just a rich, rewarding experience. In fact, it dictated the rest of the course of my life. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Now, at first, I saw this on his desk and I said, Earl, what is that? He says, it's a book holder. And I said, well, what do you do? And I said, you know, and he said, well, I keep the pages open so I can read it. And I said, well, if you want to go to the next page, you have to keep moving those things. Isn't that a little inconvenient? He said, I don't want to go to the next page. He says, I stay on this page until I see I'm doing what he's talking about. He said, what? He said, I keep reading this until I see myself doing what he's talking about. And I'll tell you why I'm at this particular page right now. We're talking about the Wright brothers. We know they were the first one, 2 bicycle mechanics that put the first plane in the air. So the lesson to be learned, aviation of the present day, of triumph of principle over precedent, of the working out of an idea to its logical conclusion in spite of the accumulated testimony to all past experience. To the contrary, and with such a remarkable example before us, can we say that it is futile to inquire whether by the same method we may not unlock still more important secrets. You see, everybody said the plane couldn't fly. All the experts, it's heavier than air. Anything heavier than air is attracted towards the center of the earth. That was believed. Well, if we keep doing this, couldn't we, by the same method, unlock the secrets? You see, if we keep thinking of how can I go further, our imagination will take us there. That's what he's saying.
Okay, next song.
This works like magic. By the way, if you want to get one of these, go to Nora.com. N-O-R. Nora's Gold, that's it. N-O-R-A-S Gold.com. N-O-R-A-S Gold.com. This, I've had many book holders. This is one of the best I've ever had. That's where you get it. But at any rate, I'm using this because I want to do with my mind the same thing the Wright brothers did. They said, I don't believe that. You can't do it. Just because you say you can't and you can prove you can, I'm going to prove you can. So they kept thinking beyond that glass ceiling, or that steel ceiling. If I keep reading that, I know I'm going to keep thinking that. As I get stuck with something, I think of that. So I keep reading it. I keep reading it. What did he say? Of all past experience to the contrary, and which notable examples before us. Can we say that it is futile to inquire whether by the same methods we may not unlock still more important secrets and gain some which are at the back of external and visible conditions? You see, I keep reading stuff like this every day. Way back in the 60s, I was listening to this. Just keep listening. If you want to change your paradigm, if you want to change your life, lock into things, and it's the repetition that makes the difference. Nora's Gold, N-O-R-A-S, gold.com. Get one of those book holders. Put something in it where you want to learn. Now keep thinking. I want you to stay with me. When you move, this is very important. When you move to a higher frequency, you're going to be communicating with the world that is totally foreign to and beyond the reach of your five senses.
If you go blank after tell us about yourself, your interview is already over.
And beyond the reach of your five senses. See, this is where people are going to think, this guy's nuts. He thinks he can become a millionaire. And he's broke. That's where I was. I was thinking I could become a millionaire, and I was broke. You know why? Because Ray Stanford kept telling me. Ray Stanford kept telling me, you keep doing it, Bob. You can do it. And then Leland Bell Vanderbilt, after I had done it, he kept telling me, you go further, Bob. There's so much you can learn. Let me show you a drawing of the mind and the body. I'll show you just exactly what you're capable of doing. And Val got me into that. Then I started working with Earl and Lloyd Conant. You see, I have had Rick experiences.
I want to finish.
The right people. When you get with the right people, God, your view of your perception of what you're capable of doing, there's no end to it. But you're dealing with a world that's totally foreign to and beyond the reach of your five senses. You're talking about things you're dealing in the imagination and the intuition. You're not going by what you see, hear, smell, taste, touch. You gotta move to the higher frequency. And when you do that, your world will change. This, look at the change. From December the 17th, 1903 to July the 20th, 1969, we went from the Wright brothers making a 14-second flight to the moon. From Kitty Hawk, North Carolina to the moon in just 979 months. Wow. Now look here. There you are. There's your dream. here's something that's really important. Steve Jobs, who you've got to really admire, taught us this. He said, you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in the future. In other words, you can't see what you have to do to get there. You're just going to have to believe you can get there. And look at this. If you believe it, what happens? All kinds of strange things happen. And the way be shown. When you get there, you'll say, damn, I could have gone there. That's right. There's no end to where you can go. Absolutely no end. So, don't hold back. Understand. There is a place. You say, I'd really love to go there. Realize there is a place.
Yesterday I gave you and then
This is so important.
I don't want
the meat.
That was the record I listened to thousands of times. I want to suggest you get it. You'll find it online somewhere. Earl Nightingale, Stranger Secret. Arash, take it away.
And you're not going to try away. Say okay. Say okay.
Oh yeah.